morning sun where the flowers bloom, colors burst like a painter's dream come true. Roses red and violets blue, every petal whispers something new. From tiny seeds to trees so grand, every leaf and bird, it's all at hand. Hello, hello plant, welcome to the show, where every flower tells a story. Watch them grow. Hello, hello plant, in every shade and hue, for every heart and every hand, we've got something for you. Indoor greens and outdoor scenes, design your space, let your garden dreams glide. Personal touch with our garden design, free sessions to blend within your budget line. From tiny seeds to trees so grand, every leaf and bird, it's all at hand. Hello, hello plant, welcome to the show, where every flower tells a story. Watch them grow. Hello, hello plant, in every shade and hue, for every heart and every hand, we've got something for you. Now everybody, let's say hello, 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 hello. Hello, hello plant, welcome to the show, where every flower tells a story. Watch them grow. Hello, hello plant, in every shade and hue, for every heart and every hand, we've got something for you, just for you. In the morning sun where the flowers bloom, colors burst like a painter's dream come true. Roses red and violets blue, every petal whispers something new. From tiny seeds to trees so grand, every leaf and bird, it's all at hand. Hello, hello plant, welcome to.
Hi everyone, and welcome to our weekly Monday live Q&A. We do this every week, and this is a space for you to come with any and all gardening questions, any problems you're having with plants. Maybe you're wanting to start a new renovation and just want to get some advice on, what plants to use for maybe a modern garden design or a Hampton style garden design. Anything at all, pop it in the comments below and we're going to answer it live right here. We're here with Chris, who's got decades of knowledge, has been working in the industry. For how long now, Chris?
My dad was had a flower farm, and I started helping him as soon as I could walk. So I can remember out
practically in the womb. Started
yeah,
pretty much started learning about gardens in the womb. Incredible. So yeah, just comment all of your questions and we're going to answer it live here. Please do share this with all of your loved ones, anyone who's into gardening, anyone who wants to get into gardening. This is a super easy way to just learn a lot and not have to, scroll through Google and try and figure out any complicated sort of things. All right, we're going to start off with Ken. Happy Monday to you as well, Ken. All right, Question 1, does olive trees have invasive roots? I was wanting to put olive trees as a hedge in a space that's 1.8 meters by 5 meters.
No, they don't have invasive roots, and you could certainly plant them there. And the trick would be olive trees prune really well. So as they get old, don't let them get too big. Just keep them trimmed and keep them under control, and they'll never be a problem in that spot.
Great. And we have an article called After Reading This, You'll Be Obsessed with Olive Trees. And it's a really good general overview about all the things you can do with olive trees. And yeah, hedging is one of the things you can do. And we actually are going to have another article coming out soon, hopefully this week, that's really talking about the applications of the fruit and foliage of olive trees. You can make some really cool stuff like tea, fodder for our farm animals, and all of that sort of great stuff. So make sure to keep an eye on that. Yeah, we did. So this is, we had actually part 1 of an olive tree live last week, and we're going to have another one tomorrow at 12 p.m. It's going to be talking all about the different species of olive trees, so you can really choose which one's going to be best for you and your garden situation. All right, let's move on to the next question from Rory. Can you recommend some drought-resistant plants for a low-maintenance garden?
Okay, so super drought resistant, you could put in things like the Lomandra tunica, which is a a beautiful soft grass that flows in the wind and it stays green when other grasses dry up. And then you could combine that with something like the Urena, which is a native ground cover, and then you could combine that with some saltbush, and that makes a wonderful combination. The saltbush I'd use is the creeping saltbush. So if you had creeping saltbush, Urena, and tunica, and then you might just add, if you wanted to add a kind of like a really tough little tree into that, you could add something like a princess gum. And so you could have your princess gum as a feature tree. You have your tunica as a sort of lovely soft grass. Your creeping saltbush is a sort of a grey, silvery grey, sort of nice moundy kind of a plant. And then flat areas of green with white fragrant flowers in your Urena. And that out of those 4 plants, you could make a really, really pretty and interesting garden.
Amazing. All right, we got a question here from Andrew. Any ground cover you can recommend for Adelaide that will get part shade / full sun?
Well, I just said Urena, and Urena is one of your Myoporum ground covers, but really there's a fine leaf Myoporum, a broad leaf Myoporum, and there's the Urena. There's even some purple ones that do it, but Myoporum, bit of shade, no problems. Hot, and Adelaide's often poor soils, often hot, often dry. And Urena is fabulous in that sort of situation, or any of your Myoporum ground covers. And Myoporum ground covers have beautiful fragrant flowers in summer, and they're quite aggressive growers. And I remember one person in Bendigo, when the big drought was on 10 or 12 years ago, I remember him saying, look, if it wasn't for the Myoporum, we wouldn't have any green in our garden at all, because they weren't allowed to water in Bendigo for a couple of years there. And right through the drought, his Myoporums kept his garden green.
Amazing. All right, next question is from Mitchell, saying, my magnolia, sweet and neat, is looking sad. What can I do to make it bushy? It is in full sun with relatively good soil. All right, what can we do to fix that up?
Magnolias love a bit of tucker. You could put a little bit of lime around it at the moment, and then in another month or so, start putting good heavy applications of, say, Osmocote, and then once you hit the warm weather, nice deep soaks regularly. So they love a bit of fertiliser, they love a bit of water in the heat. So really just give them what they love, a bit of dolomite lime now, some Osmocote in another month, and then as soon as the warm weather comes, nice deep regular soaks, and keep the Osmocote up, say, every 2 months. A nice, really give them some tucker, and don't chop them too much, just get them growing.
Yeah, great. Please keep us updated on that, Mitchell. If you are finding that you're still having problems, say in maybe 2 months, bring us up, shoot us through an email, and we can maybe troubleshoot what else could be going wrong. But hopefully that should fix it right up. All right, next question is from Ocean Crest. Hi Chris, what spacing should Magnolia Sweet... Oh, another question about Magnolia Sweet and Neat. All right, what spacing should Magnolia Sweet and Neat be for a privacy screen of about 4 meters tall?
Okay, I'd put them in about 1.3 to 1.5 metres apart, so they'll be nice and tight and meshed together nicely.
Yep, great. All right, next question is from Porcaro. Hi, my council have asked me to plant 2 new trees to replace trees. We removed one building. It needs to be 6 feet when planted, but I don't really want a big tree. What do you recommend? Maybe a mop top, is that a possible option?
Right, if they haven't actually, a wonderful tree in a confined area, nice and small, would be, it sounds like a disease, but it's called Acer globosum. And that's a Norwegian maple that grows into a beautiful ball on a stick. And because your mop tops, strangely enough, your conventional Robinia mop top can grow quite large, but your globosum will stay really quite small without you trimming it forever. And really beautiful lush green, big maple leaves, tightly packed, fabulous orange autumn colour, really, and a tree with very few vices. It doesn't sucker, it doesn't do anything terrible, it doesn't seem to flower, do anything really that's a problem. So Acer globosum would be the one that I would really consider.
Great. And hey Chris, we've got a question here from Jordan. Do you still wear the tutu at all?
Yeah, so in fact I've got it on now, but unfortunately because I'm sitting at the table you can't see it.
Exactly.
But it is looking fabulous.
And you have to come in store to come see it.
Yeah, and my legs are just as good as ever.
Exactly, yeah. You know what? Maybe I'll force Chris to wear it in a video, Jordan, because I shoot the videos with Chris too, so maybe I'll get Chris to get back into the tutu just for the fun of it. All right, next question is from Sunil Seth. I'm going to say your name wrong, sorry. From Sunil. So the question is regarding hydrangeas. We want to know how this plant would be throughout the year. Does it die during winters and then come back to life and then bloom again during summer? Yeah, talk us through the hydrangeas like life.
Okay,
Johnny.
when I'm doing garden designs, the one that I use a real lot and I'm kind of in love with is your oak leaf hydrangea. Now the beauty of your oak leaf hydrangea is that as the flowers die off in the autumn, the leaves turn beautiful burgundies and purples and oranges and things like that, and they stay there until springtime. So, and they stay till springtime, and then the new bright green leaves actually push off the old leaves. So, and you have a period of time where you've got a mixture of bright green leaves and bronze and purple foliage in the springtime, and then not long after those new green leaves take over, you'll then start to get beautiful long white flowers with bright green foliage. Now that's your hydrangea that looks good all year round. Some of your other hydrangeas look absolutely unbelievable in summer, just absolutely mouth-wateringly fabulous, and then they go to autumn and the leaves kind of turn mouldy and rot off. And from autumn through winter, they can look pretty sad. And you've got to be very careful, like you can't just go in and hack them because the flowers come on the old wood. So you've got it, you can't, if you just hack off all that terrible looking. So some of your hydrangeas can look a bit like they're from a horror movie through the winter, but be absolutely fabulous in the spring, late spring and summer through to autumn. But if you don't want to have that miserable look through the autumn winter, then you go for an oak leaf hydrangea.
Amazing. All right. Next question is from Megan. So they have an established Japanese maple. Last summer, while large branches / sections have died, all other branches are fine and continue to grow well. What would be causing this? So yeah, why did some sections and large branches die while others seem to persist?
There's a disease that get into your Japanese maple, and sections of it can die, and even if it really goes rampant, it'll go right through it. The best thing to do is to cut off the crook pieces and give it plenty of fertilizer and water and try and get it growing. I've with that disease, I've lost them completely, or I've actually cut out the dead bits, watered and fertilized them and revived them. So cut out the dead bits, water it and fertilize it, and try and get it to grow out of it, and that's the best solution. But it is a disease that's specific to maples, and particularly Japanese maples, and it's and whole sections can die.
That's unfortunate. Please keep us updated on that, Megan, and good luck with your Japanese maple. All right, next question is from Anne. Please recommend one evergreen creeper, if possible flowering, for the balcony.
Evergreen creeper or climber?
That's flowering, if possible,
Okay, so an evergreen.
for the balcony.
Okay, an evergreen for the balcony. Okay, so I reckon a lady di would be hard to beat. A lady di, very evergreen, sort of a lush tropical glossy green leaf, very vigorous in its growth. And where a lot of climbers put on a magic show for 2 weeks or 3 weeks, your lady di puts on a sort of a speckledy show, green glossy foliage and little clusters of beautiful white flowers. And they flower really for 5 or 6 months of the year. So you've got very long flowering, but not intense flowering. So, but beautiful foliage and really lovely creeper. Grows in a little bit of shade through to full sun.
Awesome. All right. Next question is from Lily the Grey Tabby Cat. They just planted a magnolia Solangia from our store. Should they prune it?
No, just let it go. Just
Okay.
let it go. And what your magnolias love is that they love plenty of fertilizer, plenty of water in the heat. Like, cultivate around it, have nice loose soil around it. Be generous with Osmocote or whatever fertilizer you use. Actually, they love cow manure if you can get hold of some cow manure, but Osmocote will do the trick. And then lots of water in the summer and really get it growing.
Awesome. When should Lily prune it?
When you need to, like, there's really no need to prune your magnolia till it starts to get a bit too big. And then when you do prune it, is straight after flowering, so it has time to grow new flowering wood and flowering buds next season.
Yeah. All right. Porcaro has another question. What height? Okay, I'm gonna get this wrong. Asalglobosum. What height is the Asalglobosum that you have at the moment? Are they 6 feet, and what height do they grow to?
Okay, so I've got Asalglobosums at the moment, and they would have around probably just shy of 6 foot, just under 6 foot, like 5'10" or something like that, up to the graft. And then they grow up another 2 foot or so from there. I have some really advanced ones that are a bit bigger, but the main lot that I've got are in 20-inch pots, and they're about 1.7, 1.8 up to the graft, and then they grow up from there another couple of feet.
Okay, awesome.
And I do have 1 or 2 really, really advanced ones if you want a sort of a ready-made one.
Yeah, and what was that max height that they grow to again?
They're going to, so the max height would be, you'd allow for about 7 or 8 feet, which is sort of 2 and a bit meters from the top of the graft.
Okay.
So from the top of the graft to the top of the tree, 7 or 8 feet.
Okay, cool. And just with when you were answering that question from Anne, that was the evergreen creeper flowering for balcony. She's just specifying climber were the options that you gave her.
Yeah, that's a climber. Yeah. Yes, that was a climbing option. And the other thing I'll say, lady di is a, what is it? I've forgotten the word for it. It's a, but anyway, it's a sort of a mock jasmine, and it does come in pinks and mauves and other colours as well. I just particularly like the white, which is the lady di.
Yeah. And a question here from Ansi. My Benjamin, the leaves all fell off. Please help.
I've got one of those, and I forget to water it, and I'll go out there one day and there'll be leaves all over the lounge room floor, and I know that I better water it quick smart, and so water it. Now what it really wants now is it wants moisture and it wants warmth to try and get some new leaves. So I'd put it somewhere. If you had a room that was well heated with a nice bright window, and which is where we've got ours, you could, possibly revive it. But yeah, and possibly even gradually get it out into the sun in summer, and maybe a good thing would be put it in a warm spot now, try and get some shoots back on it, keep it moist but not overly wet, and then when summer comes, put it out, don't do it suddenly, but work it out into the full hot sun with a bigger pot and some fresh fertilizer, and try and get it really growing and revitalise it.
Does that answer still apply if it's inside?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Inside, try and get it warm and moist, and then when the heat comes, when the heat of summer comes, gradually put it out into the sun. Don't go out too suddenly because you'll sunburn it. But if you put out for a little bit each day until you got it out in the full hot sun all day, put it into a fresh pot with water and fertilizer, and try and get it to renew itself in the hot sun in summer.
Yeah.
And then when the autumn comes, you'd bring it back inside.
Yeah. All right. And then next question is from G. Nally. What is a good hedge for the far south coast? It gets wind sometimes. Are magnolias good, or what is best?
For the far south coast, is that south coast of Victoria or New South Wales?
Yeah, G. Nally, could you specify, are you in Victoria? Are you in New South Wales? Whereabouts roughly are you in Australia? Just so we can give a really specific answer.
And how far off the beach are you? If you were a good distance off the beach, you would, like a little gem magnolia, if you wanted a sort of a 2 to 3 metre hedge, and then we have one called a big gem magnolia, which is it's actually the one that Little Gem was bred from many, many years ago, and that's a really good strong grower if you wanted a big tall screen. So we've got the big gem and we've got the little gem, and either of those would be good, either South Coast New South Wales or South Coast Victoria, as long as you weren't too close to the beach. If I was very, very close to the beach,
they're in New South Wales, Merimbula, near the beach.
Near the beach.
Yeah.
Merimbula near the beach. You might look at something like an olive. Olives are very good. Olives are very good in a sort of a coastal situation, and they'll take a fair bash of the wind, or perhaps a macrocarpa. I would tend to think a macrocarpa cypress or an olive if I was close to the beach at Merimbula.
Huh. And as you know, we love our olive trees. All right. Next question from Porcaro. I want to plant 2 pots at my front door, full sun from 1 p.m. onwards. What do you recommend?
At the front door, we've got everybody's got a ball on a stick at their front door. They all got ball on a stick, and it can get a little bit boring. So full sun, a couple of different things. You could Google and have a look at them and see which. Say I had a nice tall pot and I was going to have something a little bit hanging, a little bit different, I would consider a foxtail fern. A foxtail fern could look, it's low and sort of weepy and that could look really good in a tall, elegant pot. In a sort of another thing that would be very low maintenance would be a fastigiate English box, or or even better, a sky pencil holly, which is fastigiate English box and sky pencil hollies are beautiful green columns. They're tall, very, very low maintenance, almost nothing to do, a bit of water, a bit of fertiliser, and that'll give you a more sort of formal look. But if I had a kind of a funkier and I wanted something a bit more interesting, a Japanese plum yew has kind of got a grainy, kind of a funky look to it. So if it was a little bit funky, a little bit interesting, and a bit of character we're looking for, you could go for the Japanese plum yew. And all of those would be happy in hot, full sun at the front door.
Great, lots of good options. And yeah, they're getting full sun from 1 p.m. onwards,
Right.
so it's not the full day.
Yeah.
But
Oh, hot afternoon sun, yeah.
Yeah. And we do sell pots here as well. We sell Moj pots. They're a really great brand. We got a ton of color options, size options, shape options. So if you even just want to check them out here, and you could even just like grab one of the plants here, put it in the pot, and just kind of see what it looks like and have a bit of fun experimenting.
Actually, that's what's good about. We've got quite a big range of pots, and we've got a very big range of plants. And you could come here and you could pick a pot, and then you could go get a plum yew, and you could go get a fastigiate English box, and you could go get a foxtail fern, and you could test them all out, and you could work out what was going to work for you. And so because we've got the range of pots and the range of plants all together, it's a great place to work something like that out.
Yeah, exactly. You can just have as much fun as you want with the color and like size combinations. And yeah, just really pretty up that spot by the front door. Okay, next question is from Ken. Leighton Green, how close do you plant them to a timber fence? I'm scared when they grow it might break the fence. How close should I plant them to make a hedge?
Okay, if I was making, Leighton's Green are very, very versatile, and you can cut them into quite a very, very narrow hedge, and a not too tall hedge. So say you could make a hedge that was only, say, 70 or 80 centimetres deep and only 1.8 or 2 metres tall, and keep them trimmed like that forever. And Layton's green have a special feature that other cypresses don't have. And what it is that they have, back in the bark, they have what's called an auxiliary bud. So with a conventional cypress, if you're cutting them too hard and you cut beyond where the green is into the brown, they won't come back and you end up with just a brown hole in your hedge. But with your Laytons, they've got auxiliary buds, and so you can cut them back very, very hard. So you can you could make quite a neat, narrow, low hedge, say 1.8 by 60, 70 centimetres wide, and keep it that way forever. So if you're doing something like that, you wouldn't have to be too far from the fence at all, maybe 60, 70 centimetres off the fence. But if you were growing a very tall screen, you'd come back a little bit further. But what's interesting, if you go to Kooyong Tennis Court, and just to the right-hand side of the courts there, you'll see the most amazing Layton green hedge. It's about 8 or 9 metres tall and only about 1.2 metres wide. It's absolutely incredible, and that's because the Layton's green, instead of being forked like a normal cypress, it has a single straight trunk, and then it has branches coming out radially. And if you keep them short, you can make amazing tall, narrow hedges. So you don't have to put them too far from the fence or too far from anything, because the Layton's green, because of its ability to shoot having auxiliary buds and the actual structure of it, really lends itself to tall, narrow hedges and screens.
Great. All right, next question is from Shelley. What are some tips for extending the growing season in cooler climates?
Do you know, one thing is late summer and autumn fertilising. You'll find that that plants loaded up with fertiliser, really, really not overloaded, but loaded up, will go longer. And then apart from that, it would be making yourself a plastic house, and like say with tomatoes, and say you lived up in Macedon or somewhere like that, you could make yourself a poly house, and you could get your pumpkins, your tomatoes, your squashes, all that sort of stuff. You could get them going in pots in the poly house, and then once the last frosts are over and it started to warm up, which is much later in Macedon than say if you're up on the Murray or something, once it warms up you can bring those plants out. So a plastic house, and then late in the season plenty of fertiliser. Fertiliser seems to somehow warm the plant and keep it moving for that extra month.
Amazing. All right. We are getting close to the end of our live Q&A, so I'm going to say let's answer 2 more questions. So if you have any questions, comment them now. We do run this live every Monday though, so this is a space for you to learn and grow and just become a better gardener, have a more beautiful garden, and just have a lot more fun in the garden and just get exactly what you want. All right, second last question is from Lily. Do you think a eucalyptus tree 3 meters away will stop a cottage garden from growing?
No, but what I would do what I would do is I would, and you could always come in and get a garden designer, we can help you with this, but things like wormwood, your tougher, things like licorice, your tougher cottage plants. And the thing is, actually it sort of takes me right back, that question, is that when I was a little kid, I worked for 10 years for a lady who had a beautiful cottage garden. I worked every Saturday for her, and she was in the local horticulture society, and ladies would come around from the horticulture society, and they'd tell her that she couldn't put natives in her cottage garden because it was wrong. And she would say that, and she came from Cornwall where the cottage garden was invented, and she said that a cottage garden is whatever you want, wherever you want, whenever you want. And so basically, if you were to stray in where the gum tree was, if you were to put in perhaps a few natives mixed in, and some of your hardier exotics, and go extra hardy around that gum tree, you could still have a beautiful cottage garden. And as you get away from the cottage garden, you can put more lush and things that aren't going to take because gum trees draw up a lot of the moisture and nutrients. So if you use natives, which you can use in a cottage garden because it's whatever you want, wherever you want, whenever you want, And if you use natives and you use the really, really hardy exotics like your wormwood, like your licorice, and use those in that area, and even something like Society garlic, terribly hardy, use that around the gum tree, and then as you move away, get more lush and more exotic.
Yeah, exactly. Like, there's no rules really to it when you want to think about it. You can just make your garden whatever you want.
Yeah, particularly with a cottage garden.
Yeah. Okay, last question is from Susan. So they're asking about, I think, I do remember you asking this question, Susan, but happy for you to ask it again if you maybe just want to provide a little bit more details. It was talking about like a lawn for a blind dog. If maybe you, Susan, you just want to comment below exactly the specific details of the question. As we wait for you to type that in, I'll just let you guys know again about our olive tree live happening tomorrow, 12 p.m. We're on pretty much every platform, so wherever you're watching us now, you can watch us again on that platform tomorrow. We're on TikTok, X, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and we're going to be covering all the different species and types of olive trees so that you can figure out exactly what type is best for you and your garden situation. We would really appreciate it if you could share the news about our lives, because this is a community of gardeners that we really want to grow. We want to help as many people as we can and make gardening accessible. So we would really appreciate it if you let others know in your life about these lives. If there's anyone thinking about getting an olive tree, I mean, olive trees are so great that you can pretty much use them for almost anything in the garden and in the kitchen too. Yeah, we would really love that. So just waiting a little bit more for Susan to give those details. But yeah, please be sure to join us next week on Monday or tomorrow on Tuesday. I think when she was talking about maybe one that is quite hardy, a quite hardy ground cover, if I remember correctly.
Grass.
'Cause
Okay.
yeah.
An experience that I had, I must admit I didn't help out with it very much, but what happened is that we had two dogs, big dogs.
Oh, okay, here we got some more details.
Yeah, we had two big dogs in our backyard, and they denuded. They turned it into bare earth. Our lawn just, we had quite a small lawn, and they denuded it, turned it into bare earth, and my partner fenced it off in sections and planted kikuyu, and she just we had a little bit of kikuyu growing there, and she just lifted up and planted runners, watered and fertilised it, and in no time at all, we've now got a really lush kikuyu lawn, which is very, very hardy for dogs. And so for urine and scratching and everything like that, the kikuyu lawn seems to be, particularly if you've got a big dog that's going to be a bit hard on your lawn, the kikuyu, and the dog, our dog that we've got now eats the lawn, so the dog seems to like it and eats it, uses it as his toilet, scratches on it, digs on it, and
Has a great life.
yeah, the kikuyu seems to be able to cope with it. So
Yeah.
big success, and we went from denuded backyard by fencing it off into sections and then planting runners. So we're able to re-establish it while it was still in use.
I'm pretty sure we also have kikuyu, and we have a staffy, and she, sometimes munches on it. I think it's a funny thing dogs do sometimes when their stomachs are upset. But anyways, there's more details here from Susan. So it's a zone 4 lawn for blind dog with no pollinated flowers because she's worried her dog will step on bees because her dog's blind.
I've never seen flowers on the kikuyu, so as long as you didn't have weeds in it, as long as you didn't have weeds in it, I think the kikuyu would work.
Yeah.
And be hard wearing.
Yeah. All right, great.
Yeah, well actually no, do you know kikuyu does flower when I think of it, but it flowers up tall, so if you keep it mowed, you'll have a no flower situation.
Okay.
But if it's a small lawn and you're getting a lot of use out of it, like the dog's getting a lot of use out of it, then I would mow high. I would keep the mower nice and high and give it plenty of grass to wear and tear, you know?
Yeah.
So don't cut your kikuyu lawn too short.
Yeah, and even Kate mentions that their kikuyu is even hardy for their Great Dane, which is
Right.
awesome.
Yeah.
Great. All right, well, we're going to wrap it up there. Thank you, everyone, for coming, and I hope the rest of your Monday is lovely.
Thank you. See you later.
In the morning sun where the flowers bloom, colors burst like a painter's dream come true. Roses red and violets blue, every petal whispers something new. From tiny seeds to trees so grand, every leaf and bird, it's all at hand. Hello, hello plant, welcome to the show, where every flower tells a story. Watch them grow. Hello, hello plant, in every shade and room, for every heart and every hand, we've got something for you. Indoor greens and outdoor scenes, design your space, let your garden dreams glide. Personal touch with our garden design, free sessions to blend within your budget line. Alright. From tiny seeds to trees so grand, every leaf and bird, it's all at hand. Hello, hello plant, welcome to the show, where every flower tells a story. Watch them grow. Hello, hello plant, in every shade and room, for every heart and every hand, we've got something for you. Now everybody, let's say hello, 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 hello.